Hello and welcome, this is Nils from 𝗤𝗂𝗧𝗵𝗲 course. This is another part from the routing series, and this is about the 2-track. So the summing track that goes off the summing bus for the whole session. In this example, I called this track where the summing bus go through the Pro Tools 2-track. And for this example, you can see 3 groups. These are routing folders. Group 1, Group 2, and Group 3. All have some audio files in that, and every audio file in that group is routed over the bus to the group bus, and the groups goes to the summing bus. So for the example, I close the folders, so you see these 3 routed to that one. And I like to use a summing bus because of more than just one reason. The first one is if you want to use some plugins for the whole mix, like an EQ or a compressor, or maybe just like a tape effect or something like that. So if you want to have a processing on the whole summing bus, then we can use some kind of tape plugin or whatever you want to use. So this goes straight on the Pro Tools 2-track. Another one is that I like to use hardware insets, and most of the time I just only use one hardware compressor, and this is for the summing bus, and for that reason I have some hardware compressor stereo setup. This is the Cream from Tegeler Audio, and I can use this on that part, so the audio goes through that inserts out of the interface into the hardware compressor and comes back to Pro Tools on that track. The third point I have a summing track is when I do a mix of a single song or just even 2 songs for a project or for a particular time. So when I produce my own music and I just have one song and don't do a full album, I like to master after the mixing session, right in the mixing session. I don't take the stereo file out of the session, so I do that right here. Most of the time I have left 1 or 2 insert points, and I can directly use here, let's say we use that kind of Pro limiter as our last mastering limiter, and I can do that right here. And the fourth reason, and this is together with the reason before I showed you with the limiter, I can use a different kind of routing. So for now, this track goes directly to my hardware output, to my 𝗏 Anubis interface. But let's bring in 2 other tracks, and these are audio tracks where I can record the whole mix I do. I need to do this when I use a hardware compressor, because I can't bounce it online. I can't just render it. I need to re-record the audio. So I have here 2 different types of audio recording tracks. The first one you can see is a Pro Tools 2-track insert that comes here. It's the same insert like this, because I can record the clean mix without the all processing that's happened here on that track. And I have another bus set up, and this is the 91, the Pro Tools 2 rack. And in Pro Tools, I can say I just want to send the out from the Pro Tools to a second destination. So that one I can control. I hold control, and I use the Pro Tools 2 rack bus. So now the signal that comes here goes to my monitor outputs and to that one. And I can record all processing what's happened, so all post these inserts. The 2-rack mix is pre-insert. So this is the clean mix. But to have a better listen option, to listen also to their tracks, I create another listening track. And for that reason, I route the listening track to my monitor outputs, and here I cancel that one and bring in the listening as well. So for now, the 2-track is routed to 2 destinations, to the Pro Tools rack and to the listening bus. And over the listening bus, I can listen to the whole mix. And before we come to another part about the listening track, I would like to create another track, and this is another aux track, a stereo one, and we call that bounce. The input, I've set a 2 bounce, and here is a bounce out. So this is just a channel for me where I can bounce out the 2-rack mastering song if I need to have a quick listen how it sounds when I have to reduce the bit depth and going from 48 kilohertz and 24-bit to 1 kilohertz and 60-bit. So I typically set also these both to another output, and this is the 2 bounce, and let's do that with that again. And from that channel, I can bounce out when I here set a dither plugin. Let's say we have here that one, and now I can bounce it every time out, just like I would do it online. I set it as my bounce output. Very handy. Very comfortable, and I can listen to all the tracks, and that I show you in the another part of the routing series. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave that in the comments, and I see you in the next part.